Hi guys, welcome to the video blog diary of where you ask the doc questions related to medicine and how I can help you, and further clarify anything that is superly mystified on the internet and break it down in simple terms so that you guys understand. So the question today really wasn't a question, but it was more like an indirect, like, how do you survive with medical school loans? And figured, there's probably thousands of videos already on this, but let's talk about something that pertains to me and how I can probably help you guys. And obviously this video is going to pertain to med students and medical residents, but I can do another discussion and just in general in debt, but I'm figuring the whole topic of debt management has been overkilled already. There's enough information on it, but let's dive in on how debt affects a doctor and why people should understand and learn about this. So just a little bit of background about me. I went to med school in 2005, and I graduated and entered residency in 2011 and finished residency in 2014, and it was in internal medicine, basically adult medicine. And the reality is once you finish med school, you're on the hook for whatever that amount was. So for me, I wasn't on the hook for $340,000, but that was the final amount after I finished residency, and residency is another 3 more years after med school. So I think I'm just kind of quoting the numbers, nothing really hard specific, but I think I took out a loan for about $180,000 all through med school, and my parents weren't able to fund me any money or pay any portion of that, so it was all on me. And this went for housing, books, schooling, and food budget, gas for the car, electric bill, etc. Basically everything I needed to live on. And after about, like, in those 4 years, the interest is not accruing, right? You're just taking out the loan. But once you hit residency, the interest hits hard. Now, at the time when I got my loans, I think I had an average of roughly about 8.5% APR. That is a huge amount, especially when you're talking about 6-figure numbers. Now, 8% credit cards would be amazing if your debt was only, say, $10,000 on the credit card, but 8% roughly on a majority of my subsidized loans. And I had a federal, it's not a federal, it's called a Grad Plus loan, which was almost in the 17%. It was just ridiculous. So essentially these loans and the high interest rate kicked in, and it just destroys you. That you have to go on income-based repayment plans. It's called IVR, and this is a default by the loan company. My loan was essentially the Department of Education, and they said, well, you're not going to be able to make the payment, which would be about $2,000, and as a resident making $35,000 gross, no taxes yet, you can't afford to live that, especially paying the taxes and everything. You're probably living off of like $22,000. You're not gonna be able to make full monetary payments and still survive and eat properly and get exercise and gym and have fun and basically have a meaningful healthy residency. So what happens is you go into income-based repayment, and the income-based repayment was roughly about, I want to say about $450 to $500 a month. And that was based on someone that was making about $35,000. Now, this was doable for me, but you have to live really, really tight. And what happened is I couldn't live really tight. Just the area I was doing residency was in Pittsburgh, and it's a very moderate, expensive city. And thankfully there's a lot of things to do and activities, but I could not limit myself. So I did go in forbearance for a few months, probably about a half of a year, and then later realized that was the worst thing to do because you're not making any payments and it's just accruing at an even higher rate. So I did then eventually go back and start making the income-based repayment plans of roughly about $500 a month. There would be times that I would actually leverage my credit card and then pay my loan with my cash, and use the card to pay for expenses like groceries and books, outings, whatever, and then hope once the next paycheck comes, cover the credit card debt, and then just kind of juggle back and forth with the finances. But the big thing is that interest will destroy you in residency. And some of the residents that I've known either lived very tight, or they already had housing that was covered by their parents, or they had some kind of money stipend, something to really get them through, or they had some side job. Now, a lot of residents that I knew started moonlighting, which is they were picking up extra shifts and then it was eventually making attending like money, but you only could do this at the very end of your second year and then into your third year. And the competition between moonlighting shifts was very hard, especially when you're competing with other residents plus the fellows in the program. And the fellows were getting the priority shifts because they had seniority. They've been longer with the program. They're almost full-blown attendings, and they were already certified in internal medicine. They were just doing their specialty on training, so a lot of the shifts were panned out to them rather than young residents. So you really couldn't rely on that money coming in. So the big thing is you'll have to live very tight, and I tried and I did. So, but the interest does rack up. So my $190,000 started hitting the interest, and you're making minimal payments. The minimal payment barely touches the principal. So say out of $100, maybe $2 to $5 is hitting the principal. You're just literally covering interest payments every month. And what happens is your effort, all that payment in your residency is useless, especially when you're looking at this much of debt and you're making just a little bit enough on your interest, but you touched your principal absolutely nothing. And the real big push was when I became an attending. The salary obviously increases, but you still need to live tight. You need to live like a resident for, I would say, probably 4 or 5 years. And what this does is it allows you to substantially make a dent in your principal payment, and thereby lowering the amount of interest you're using. And then you start seeing this snowballing effect in which the interest gets better. Now I can go in a lot more detail and talking about where I am, where I'm not. If you guys want to know more about this topic, shoot me a comment and I'll elaborate where I'm at. But I just want to bring to the point that if you continue to do income-based repayment throughout the life of your loan, you will never pay this damn loan off in time. What you need to do is crush it and forget all the bullshit scams, the simplified like, oh, we can lower your payments. But what you happen to realize is when you lower a payment, you extend the year in the life of the loan. You'll never get through it. Now, yeah, you could live comfortably and have all the fancy gadgets and toys and stuff and really feel like you're a money-making machine. But if your payments are so low that you're barely touching your principal, you'll still be a slave to your loan, like some of the attendings I work with, at age 65, 66, still paying their loan. So what you want to do is you want to really crush it and as much principal as you can to really make some snowballed effect. And then once that loan's done, shit, if it's only 10 years that loan's done, or 15 years, you have the rest of your life to just spend, save, invest in stocks, funds, cryptocurrency, whatever. But that extra payment that's been burdening you for so long is now freedom. It's opportunity. It's opening a new practice. It's paying into real estate, investing, helping others, philanthropy. You could do so much, but why waste, say, 30, 40 years of your life paying this loan at the most minimum income-based repayment possible when you could crush it? And I'm talking about, I recommend, if you guys have, if you follow Dave Ramsey's, he has an income mortgage calculator. You'll see that even if you put just a little bit more to your monthly payment, you can actually really cut down on the loan based on years. So I did a sample calculation just to give you some rough figures, is a $30,000 car loan. If you were to make the minimum payments, it would take you about 6 years to pay it off. But if you add like another $60, you could shed off almost 8 months of that loan. That's huge. Now, extrapolate that to something that's, say, $300,000, $400,000. If you made another $300 more payment a month, you'll be shedding a good chunk of your time and energy later down the road, saving more interest up front. So I can go again in topics on this, on what I've learned. I've been out in the field for roughly about 5 years now. I've paid taxes. I understand how it impacts you. But if you're a med student or resident that's just not even thinking about this stuff and you want more information, just ask a question. I'll make a quick video. It doesn't take time to make these things. And my goal is really to just educate you and educate others that are just interested in what the medical student life and the loan process is, but also educate you about your health. Once again, thanks for joining the channel. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, and support the cause. Thank you guys. Bye.